Here, that guy, former head coach Eric Mangini joins the show. Hey, Coach. I walked downstairs super early into the green room before anyone gets here, and he's sitting there in his like 16-piece suit, prepared, ready to go. He was here like before, way before we were even downstairs. It was very impressive.
Hey, look, I can't wait to hear Nick's takes. So
so there you go.
I'm sure they're going to be different than every other week. That's why
it's the Coach Mangini way. He was doing that before the Patriots.
Exactly.
Glad to have you, Coach.
Let's dive in. Let's talk Drew Brees and the Saints. They took on a red-hot Nick Foles and the Eagles, and Nick Foles would open up the scoring in the first with a touchdown to Jordan Matthews, and it was the Eagles who jumped out early, 14-0. But the Saints would crawl back third quarter down for Brees to Michael Thomas in the end zone. Thomas 171 yards on the day. Eagles had a chance to win it, only down 6 and driving, but Foles to Alshon Jeffrey. The ball went right through his hands. Jeffrey can't believe it. Saints win 20-14. Here's their head coach, Sean Payton, after the game.
I'm proud of those guys. I'm proud of that locker room. They fought through a lot and, managed to get the win. And, again, these are tough games.
I'll take that loss. That's on me. Let all my teammates down. City of Philadelphia, that's on me. I'll take that.
You win through losses. You win through wins. This is something that, all of us are going to learn from and we'll be better for. I've talked a lot about, my career in the NFL and the ups and downs. You're always learning. And, we learned a lot tonight. And it's tough, but we'll keep moving on.
All right, Coach, what do you think was the key to the Saints being able to come back from being down early and pull out the win?
Well, I get what Sean Payton was trying to do in terms of motivational tactic, where he brought the $250,000 in and the Lombardi Trophy and all those things.
That's right out of your coaching book.
I was going to wheel in the cash, definitely. But it's one of those things where it felt like they were looking past Philly, and that's how it felt in the early part of the game.
I knew you were going to say that. I didn't think you'd like that, not because of the money,
because it's right,
but because it's talking about 3 wins.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, because it's right.
No, but it's not the money that bothers you. It's that he's talking about something that happens if you get 3 wins.
Yeah, it's the idea of instead of focusing on the moment, you're focusing on the longer term goal, and I get that, and I think that it's a great image, and everybody's trying to get to that point. But that's how you get knocked out of the playoffs. And when you're playing a Philly team that's done as well as they have at late, and you embarrassed early in the season, and all those things came into play, and you saw it early where Philly was firing and New Orleans looked flat. Drew Brees hadn't played in a couple weeks, and I think at some point they finally realized, okay, this is going to be radically different than the last time we played these guys, and things are going to have to change. And to me, the fake punt was the turning point for that game. And I give Mike Westhoff a lot of credit for that, because I've been with Mike Westhoff, and I know that he likes to take those chances. He likes to take those chances on your own side of the field, and I thought that was a huge momentum swing.
Let me ask you about that play, that if you're coaching the Eagles, because this isn't hindsight by me. I tweeted it as it was happening. I just want to know your perspective on it. Because there's a penalty on that 3rd down that would have made it 3rd and 12. And almost always, you decline 3rd down penalties, force the other team to punt. But when you're playing the Saints, who, if they line up for fourth and less than 1, Drew Brees is historically good on those quarterback sneaks, and they have been a team with a higher propensity for a fake punt like that because of Taysom Hill. Would you, if you were coaching the Eagles, would you have considered accepting that penalty to make it 3rd and 12 rather than 4th and less than 1?
Yeah, definitely, because I felt the same way that you did in the moment.
I thought they might go for it.
4th and 1, 4th and 2 with that group, you've got a real chance that they line up and run the play, where if you push them back and take the chance that, with the 3rd down.
Now, maybe they convert the 3rd down, obviously.
And then you get killed the other way. But,
sure.
But that
right, I can understand you guys' theory that they might go for it, but don't think they're going to run a fake. Like once they line up with the punt team there, you're going to have punt safe on anyway. So them being able to execute, I can understand you guys saying, oh, I would take the penalty. Drew Brees picking up a 3rd and long, the probability of that are better than Sean Payton leaving the offense on the field.
Sure.
and going for it compared to with Mike Westhoff. Because I thought going into the game, we mentioned Mike Westhoff last week. And since they've signed him as their special teams coordinator, some type of role they got him in, it's like, man, you're retired. We need you. We'll come up with the title. And he has made that type of difference in their coverage teams, in their return game. So that's another reason why the Saints have a championship caliber team, is because Westhoff and what he's done with those special teams.
And I know Alshon Jeffrey said that, you know, that's on me, and he has broken down, and I'm sure will again, what happened on that route. And I know that was the play that sealed the game. And it was, I mean, listen, it stinks. That's his first drop in his playoff career. They didn't even have to run that play before the 2-minute warning clock was their friend at that point. It bounced, went against them. To me, that wasn't even the most critical interception of the game, because if Nick Foles doesn't throw the one early when they're up 14-0, I don't think they're in this position. I don't think they're in a position where they're trying to rally late. The Foles underthrow on Zach Ertz right here when the Eagles had all the momentum, scored on 2 straight drives, and they had just forced a Drew Brees fumble that the Saints were fortunate enough to recover. That play right there, from that moment forward, New Orleans outgained Philly 399 to 97. It was a total domination from that moment of the game forward.
Well, you know, what I thought was interesting about this game is I went back and watched their first game, and Jim Schwartz had looked to take away Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara with double teams. And what happened is there was miscommunication in the secondary. The fits in the running game weren't right. They didn't play it very well. The concept was right. So this game, they go exactly the opposite, and they're not going to double team. They're going to play their core stuff. It helped them. You almost wish, though, that he had kept a couple of those calls in
for late in the game.
For late in the game, because
especially third down. They needed
third down. They needed to mix in a little bit of that. And I completely understand his mindset, though. When you get beaten that badly trying to do something, it's hard to carry it into the next game. Although you really, in retrospect, you look at it and you think, maybe 1 or 2 of those variations.
So is Michael Thomas catch on 3rd and 16, on 3rd and 13? Those are just stomach punches.
I mean, he had a million catches, and just to be able to mix some of that in, especially late, and also to give Drew Brees something different to look at late in the game.
Yeah, I know that people are going to talk about Alshon and the drop, but as you mentioned before, the Saints, they're kicking a field goal to go up by 2 scores. They missed that. You know, so there were a number of things that led. That wasn't the biggest play. I thought either the call on the punt, because I wasn't expecting a punt. I was watching the game. I wasn't expecting a fake. Like, I was expecting them to punt the ball out of there in that situation. That was really a gutsy call, because you're talking about a call that can change the game.
Go against you.
I mean, totally can go against you. And the momentum you might not ever be able to recapture. But the Saints' ability, and Dennis Allen with their defensive coordinator, to play good defense after a slow first quarter, I thought that was one of the most pivotal things that they were trying to do. Played more zone defense. We're getting a rush on Nick Foles. I thought that was a huge change in the game, how they were able to change compared to Schwartz, and the Eagles stayed in the same thing.
And they proved so much on third down. And one of the things that we talked about before the game is Foles' effectiveness on third down. Early in the game, he was effective again, and New Orleans was able to adjust, and that changed dramatically as well as the game went on.
And they finished 2 of 7 on third down after being effective early. I think they were 0 for 5 on their last 5 third down attempts were Philly. But the other part of the game that we haven't talked about with you, that drive seed opened the second half, where they go over 100 yards thanks to penalties. They took, what, 11 minutes of game time in that drive? That is what cemented, the Saints are in total control of this football game. Like, that didn't end the game. The Eagles obviously were still very alive, but that's what made you realize, the Saints right now are clearly the better team with everything going in their favor, and the Eagles were going to need a major shift play, and the Michael Bennett TFL and missed field goal almost was that to flip the game the other way.
Yeah, they were in control, but it was also punctuated by penalties. And that's how the whole game went, where New Orleans had to overcome their self-inflicted wounds. They had to overcome their either taking Philly too lightly or not going in with the right energy, or whatever that was that we saw to start the game, and it carried over into that second half to some degree. Now, they overcame it, but I don't know if it's going to be good enough next
I believe
week.
Some of that we've seen with the #1 seeds is not playing week number 17.
Yep.
When you take that intensity away week number 17, then you have a bye. That's a long time off for teams to keep that continuity and continue to keep that offense striking on all cylinders.
And sadly, I fear that we have now put to bed what has become my favorite topic on the show, Nick Foles' magic carpet ride, but we will talk
Well, he'll get a team next year, Jenna.
No, but with the
He'll get
Eagles.
to
It's not magic unless it's with the Eagles. That's the only way he knows how to
Maybe
do
it's
the magic.
transferable.
Coach, stick around. Coming up, how impressive was Mahomes in his playoff debut? Next on First Things First. Say it, Cece.
Oh, my God. Here comes Nick.
What?
So excited.
What are you talking about?
Mahomes.
I'm an analyst,
So
sir.
excited.
I'm just watching the games, giving my
fan.
takes.